Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Sunday, December 18th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with the WWE's 20th Annual Tribute to the Troops special, which aired Saturday afternoon on the Fox network. The three-match show was taped on November 11th after an edition of SmackDown at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Results saw Braun Strowman defeat LA Knight, WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler topped Tamina and Emma, and in a six-man tag team match, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Ricochet defeated the Imperium faction. This was the third consecutive year Tribute to the Troops has aired on Fox, and the first to be aired on a Saturday. The previous 2 years saw the special air on Sunday as shoulder programming before or after National Football League games, depending on the NFL's regional broadcast schedule. Yesterday, the special began over 20 minutes late in some markets due to Fox's coverage of a collegiate basketball game between Providence and Seton Hall going long. Speaking of WWE and Fox, SmackDown on Fox averaged 2.056 million viewers in the Fast National ratings, according to Spoiler TV. That number is down 32,000 viewers from last week's overnight tally. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a 0.5. Complete ratings for the show are typically released on Monday afternoon, and once they're in, we'll have them for you here on the Wrestling News. Kevin Owens was initially scripted into Friday Night SmackDown, but travel issues prevented it, according to Fightful Select. In a Patreon post yesterday, Fightful reported that Owens was scheduled to be a part of the closing segment featuring the Bloodline, but a WWE source cited, quote, a nightmare travel situation, unquote, as preventing it from happening. Fightful noted Owens would have been the one to introduce the video of John Cena revealing he'd be KO's partner when the two face off against Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn on the December 30th edition of SmackDown in Tampa, Florida. To make matters tougher for the creative and production teams, Owens was also figured into next week's edition of SmackDown, which was also taped on Friday night after the live edition ended. Hacksaw Jim Duggan had to deal with a recent break-in at his South Carolina home, according to an interview with website Wrestling Inc. The incident happened on the evening of December 8th when the intruder, a man in his mid-20s, climbed the home's fence, ran to the front door and pounded on it, then entered through an unlocked door. The 68-year-old Duggan tackled the man and held him at gunpoint while Duggan's wife Deborah called 911. Kershaw County Sheriff's deputies took the man into custody, but according to the interview, Duggan did not press charges. The intruder, described by the Duggans as, quote, hysterically frightened, unquote, said that fearing for his life, he ran away from the scene of an alleged burglary at a nearby house and pounded on the doors of several houses before seeking refuge at the Duggans' home. In a post on his Instagram account yesterday, Duggan said he and his wife were, quote, safe with no damage, unquote, and thanked both the Sheriff's Department for their prompt and professional response and his fans for the concerns and well wishes. Taking a look at the UK, Rev Pro crowned 3 new champions during their Uprising show on Saturday. New Japan Pro Wrestling's The Great Okan defeated Zack Zodiac to win the British-based company's Undisputed Heavyweight Championship during its show at London's York Hall Leisure Centre. Fresh off of being awarded Tokyo Sports Fighting Spirit and Tag Team of the Year honors along with his partner Jeff Cobb, Okan defeated Zodiac, who stepped in on behalf of the actual champion Ricky Knight Jr., who was pulled from the card on Monday due to a broken wrist. The Southside women's title also changed hands as Danny Luna defeated Kanji. Luna was a late replacement for women's champion Alex Windsor, who on Friday was declared not medically cleared to perform. Robbie X won a 4-way elimination match to claim Rev Pro's undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship, defeating former champion Luke Jacobs, Dan Maloney, and Will Caven. Rev Pro's undisputed British tag team titles were the only successful defense of a championship, as the Greedy Souls defeated their challengers Sunshine Machine in a street fight. In other results, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Leon Slater, Michael Oku topped Connor Mills, and in the show's main event, Will Ospreay defeated Tomohiro Ishii. In Ring of Honor and independent news, new ROH Women's World Champion Athena will defend her title against Japanese star Miyu Yamashita on January 21st at a Prestige wrestling event in Pomona, California. The match was announced via a tweet by Prestige yesterday. Athena defeated Mercedes Martinez to capture the title at ROH's Final Battle pay-per-view in Arlington, Texas on December 10th. Yamashita, three-time former Princess of Princesses champion for Japan's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling promotion, unsuccessfully challenged Thunder Rosa for the AEW World Women's Championship at Fight for the Fallen last July. Yamashita is the current UK-based Pro Wrestling Eve Women's Champion. This is the first scheduled title defense for Athena. If an earlier title match is announced before then, we'll let you know. House of Glory ran their Revelations show on Saturday night, which streamed on Fight Plus. In the show's main event, Jay Leone and Midas Black defeated Mark and Jay Briscoe in a 2 out of 3 falls match to win the HOG Tag Team Championship. Other title matches saw Jacob Fatu retain his heavyweight championship, defeating Nick Aldis. Charles Mason defeated Lindsay Dorado to hold on to the Crown Jewel title. Violette topped Masha Slamovich to retain the women's championship. And Mighty Monte defeated Nolo Kitano to retain the Cruiserweight title. The most notable non-title match saw New Japan's Kenta defeat Low Ki by countout. Wonder Ring Stardom has announced a new set of tag team titles that will be assimilated into the promotion. During Friday's New Blood 6 show at Sumitomo Hall in the Shinjuku section of Tokyo, the promotion announced that they created the championship as a prize goal for the younger, more inexperienced members of the roster. The tournament begins on January 20th and will conclude on March 25th at the Yokohama Budokan. The largest women's promotion in the world also announced plans for a trios tournament titled Triangle Derby. The tournament begins at the Yokohama Budokan on January 3rd and features 14 teams split into 2 blocks. The top 2 teams in each block will then meet on March 4th at the Yoyogi National Stadium Gymnasium 2, leading to the final later on that night. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.